Imagine this. One ordinary morning, you pick up a shiny rock from a riverbed, and suddenly you're holding the key to a fortune that could change your life forever. This isn't a fantasy. It's exactly what happened in 1848, sparking one of the most incredible migrations in human history. This is the story of the California Gold Rush, an event that didn't just build a state, it reshaped a nation and captured the imagination of the world. Let's rewind to a quiet, dusty corner of Mexican-controlled California. A man named James Marshall was overseeing the construction of a sawmill for his boss, John Sutter. On January 24, 1848, while inspecting the water channel, something glinting in the morning sun caught his eye. He picked it up. It was heavy, soft, and had a brilliant yellow luster. It wasn't just any rock, it was gold. Marshall, probably shaking with excitement, rushed to Sutter. They performed a few crude tests and the reality sank in. They had struck gold. Initially, they tried to keep their monumental discovery a secret. Can you imagine trying to keep a lid on something that big? It was like trying to hold back the tide with a teacup. Word travels fast, especially when wealth is involved. A shopkeeper and publisher named Samuel Brannan became the ultimate hype man for the gold rush. He didn't just whisper about it, he ran through the streets of San Francisco, waving a bottle filled with gold dust, shouting, "Gold! Gold! Gold!" from the American River. That single act lit the fuse. Suddenly, San Francisco, then a sleepy village of a few hundred people, transformed into a ghost town overnight. Shops closed, newspapers stopped printing, and ships were abandoned in the harbor as their crews deserted them. Everyone, carpenters, doctors, farmers, sailors, dropped what they were doing and headed for the hills, consumed by a single, powerful desire: to get rich quick. This was the birth of the 49ers, the legendary prospectors of 1849 who would define an era. The news spread like wildfire, first across America and then across the globe. From the East Coast, people embarked on treacherous journeys. Some took the grueling 6-month sea voyage around the tip of South America. Others risked disease by crossing the narrow Isthmus of Panama. The most iconic route, however, was the overland journey across the vast, untamed American continent. Thousands packed their lives into covered wagons, forming massive trains that snaked across prairies, deserts, and the formidable Sierra Nevada mountains. These weren't just Americans. The call of gold was universal. Hopeful prospectors set sail from China, Australia, Mexico, Chile, and all across Europe. California was becoming a global melting pot, a place where destinies were waiting to be forged. What was life actually like for these 49ers? It was anything but glamorous. Forget the idea of picking up giant nuggets with ease. The most common method was placer mining, which was backbreaking work. Miners would stand knee-deep in freezing river water for hours on end, using pans to swirl sand and gravel, hoping to find a few specks of color left at the bottom. Later, they developed more advanced techniques like rockers and sluice boxes, which could process more dirt but were still incredibly labor-intensive. Their days were long. Their food was terrible, mostly salted pork and hard biscuits, and their living conditions were primitive, often just a simple tent or a crude wooden shack. The mining camps that sprung up overnight had names as rough and colorful as the life within them: Hangtown, Rough and Ready, Mad Mule Gulch. These were lawless places, filled with a chaotic mix of cultures, languages, and personalities. Disputes were often settled not with words, but with fists or worse. Yet, amidst the grime and grit, there was a strange, powerful sense of camaraderie. Your neighbor in the next claim could be a farmer from Missouri, a tailor from England, or a sailor from China. They shared a common dream, and that forged a unique, if temporary, bond. And what about the fortunes they dreamed of? For a lucky few, the dream came true. There are legendary stories of miners striking a rich vein and pulling out thousands of dollars worth of gold in a single day, a lifetime's wages back home. But these stories were the exception, not the rule. The harsh reality was that most prospectors found very little. Many spent their life savings just to get to California, only to end up broke, sick, or both. The real winners of the gold rush often weren't the miners at all. The cleverest entrepreneurs realized that the real gold wasn't in the rivers. It was in the miners' pockets. People like Samuel Brannan, our original hype man, became California's first millionaire not by panning for gold, but by selling supplies. He bought up every shovel, pickaxe, and pan he could find and sold them at ridiculously inflated prices. A shovel that cost cents back east could sell for $10 or more. Levi Strauss, a name you definitely know, saw that the miners' flimsy pants were constantly ripping. So he started making durable work pants out of a tough canvas material called denim, and thus the iconic blue jean was born. These merchants, saloon owners, and service providers were the ones who consistently struck it rich. The gold rush had a massive, irreversible impact. It accelerated California's path to statehood, admitting it to the Union in 1850 as a free state, which further intensified the national debate over slavery. The tiny outpost of San Francisco exploded, transforming into a bustling, chaotic, and vital international city in just a few years. The influx of people also created immense pressure and conflict. Native American populations were devastated, pushed off their lands, and subjected to violence. Mexican Californios who had lived there for generations often had their land titles challenged and their property stolen. It was a period of incredible opportunity, but also of profound injustice. The rush also spurred incredible innovation. The need to get people and goods to California faster led to the development of sleek, fast-sailing clipper ships and eventually laid the groundwork for the Transcontinental Railroad, an engineering marvel that would finally tie the West Coast to the rest of the country. The techniques developed for gold mining would later be used to extract other resources, fueling America's Industrial Revolution. By the mid-1850s, the easiest-to-reach surface gold was mostly gone. Individual prospectors with their pans and shovels were replaced by large, industrialized mining companies that used powerful hydraulic hoses and heavy machinery to blast away entire hillsides, causing enormous environmental damage that we can still see today. The era of the lone 49er was over. Many returned home, some with fortunes, most with nothing but stories. Others stayed, becoming farmers, merchants, and builders who laid the foundation for modern California. The California Gold Rush was more than just a frantic search for yellow metal. It was a defining chapter in the American story, a raw, chaotic, and powerful testament to the allure of fortune, the spirit of adventure, and the relentless drive that pushes people to risk everything for the chance at a better life. It forged a state, built cities out of dust, and left behind a legacy of both incredible progress and deep-seated problems, reminding us that the pursuit of dreams is often a complex and messy business. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you enjoyed this story and want to uncover more fascinating chapters from history, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us create more content for you. Let us know in the comments what piece of history you'd like us to explore next. Until then, stay curious.